Look how the diamond blink off my jet. Fresh in my white tee. See the progress. I'm a stunner, stunner, stunner. I'm a stunner, stunner, stunner. NBA trade deadline. Okay, so today is February 6th, which is the date of the deadline. But somebody let me know something down in the comments. Oh, yeah. Kyle finna say, don't teams still have till midnight to still make trades on today? But I realized I seen it on Google the other day, and I think the trade deadline is February 6th, which is today, and then it's 2 p.m. Had like a whole bunch of moves been going on, but they only like announce superstars. One thing I want to point out before I start this video, my favorite team is Spurs. First off, go Spurs, go. You know what I'm saying? Got De'Aaron Fox in that bit. Stop playing, fool. But we ain't gonna waste no time, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and go. Take it, baby.
All right, so with the deadline approaching, it wasn't a matter of if, but where Jimmy Butler would go. And
I think Jimmy Butler is a little mentally
Warriors have been looking for another starter pair with
that's just
Steph Curry and Draymond for one more run. And Jimmy said, welcome to the Wild Wild West. Indeed, the Heat moving Butler to Golden State. It's a multi-team deal. The key pieces in the get back from Miami.
I do think the Warriors could go crazy with
six-time
Jimmy
All-Star
Butler.
from Miami,
but
who led
Curry,
the Heat to a couple of NBA Finals,
Butler,
did agree to a new
pretty
two-year,
sure
$111 million extension to Golden State through 26-27. We welcome Shams Charania to the show.
Do y'all think they could win a ring,
let's
though?
collectively acknowledge that this man right here told us that this is what Jimmy Butler wanted, and there were protests to the contrary. No, he doesn't want to get moved. He gets moved, Shams. I just want to acknowledge that as I ask you, what had to happen?
Wait, you saying so Jimmy Butler did want to trade?
Scott, this all started.
But did he want to go to the Warriors specifically?
The Heat started really listening to offers for Jimmy Butler.
He definitely didn't want to play for Miami no more.
I'll tell you that right now, my trade destinations, and the writing was really on the wall. You know, Pat Riley had his press conference after the season, and both sides were really looking for a move. And obviously, the saga that we saw took place over the coming 2 months after that spoke for itself. There were several teams in play here this entire time, but really from the beginning of this process, the Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors were the two teams most in touch with the Miami Heat on trying to figure out a package. And what Miami really wanted were shorter-term contracts or a player like Andrew Wiggins, who satisfied exactly what they needed, a two-way player.
I think
Andrew Wiggins in the next season, and at the end of the day, the Golden State Warriors were able to find a deal that was suitable. And they needed to allow some dominoes, one big one being Kevin Durant, to come off the board. But when that happened,
I do think Wiggins, though, over the next
half
season or two,
he'll
really
give
him another All-Star.
Jimmy Butler, they work fast.
You got Hero, Adebayo, we didn't make it this year.
About that domino that comes off the board in Kevin Durant, there were a lot of moving pieces there. I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit later with Brian Windhorst, but is it your understanding, Shams, that it's Kevin's preference to remain with Phoenix?
Scott,
I did hear everybody in that bomb was talking about how Kevin Durant was going to be traded
this season.
I think he should because the Phoenix Suns was better with Chris Paul
him being
than they
any
is
type
with
of
KD.
trade conversation.
So something going on, fool. Something's wrong.
A surprise to him. Somewhat caught him off guard from my understanding. But this is a player who, obviously, we know, two-time NBA Finals MVP, two-time champion. He's someone who has a great legacy in this game. And so to be in potential trade talks and not really want out of a situation that has to potentially rub him the wrong way.
He probably got a big boy next to him.
And so this is something that the Suns and Durant, to an extent, are going to have to navigate whatever tensions could still exist going into tomorrow, trade deadline, and then beyond, if assuming he's still on the roster.
Man, it's complicated. I don't know how you navigate these water, Shams. And speaking of which, I know you got your phone at the ready in case something breaks.
Man,
and we got a little bonus news here on the way out. A really talented player on the move.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram has been traded from the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's going to be going to the Toronto Raptors. And,
the Raptors?
For the Raptors, this is obviously they're trying to go get, to have Scotty Barnes there. They want to really build around him. And,
wait, did they trade RJ Barrett?
For Brandon Ingram, last year of his contract, he's going to find a home potentially for the foreseeable future.
All right, well, listen.
See, that's what
I
I'm
know
saying.
you're in the news-breaking business, but I beg of you as a guy that lives in a town where there's an ice storm and I have to go home, please note of that late-night tweeting from the other night. If that happens again, I'm going to have to walk back in here and break this news with you. So I'm begging to break the news tomorrow morning.
He is kind of ball dominant,
my guy.
Scott,
I'd rather
going
take
the other
Tobias
way.
Harris
I
over
really
Ingram,
hope.
but I really like Brandon Ingram. He's like a baby
Scott,
KD.
but maybe I'm just optimistic.
Your optimism is great.
But
listen,
I had no idea
I'll hang
Brandon
out
Ingram
until you
got
tell me I
traded.
can go home. Shams Charania, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
I had no idea Ingram got traded. We could have.
Shams is
Ingram,
break more news. There was
San Antonio
fans
next year, my
behind
boy.
the Heat bench that broke the news to the
I'm
Heat
positive
players
Brandon
and
Ingram
their
don't
win
wanna
over
live in
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Highlights coming later. That the trade had happened.
Y'all seen them boys
Imagine
from
that.
New Orleans, the bottom of the
Just fell.
state.
He didn't want to talk about the guy that's
Canada.
been moved.
He is not
Obviously
staying.
can't and won't ask you about trade that hasn't
Ingram
been
is not staying in
completed.
Toronto.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
ask you though,
crazy.
is there any relief, without getting into names, is there
They
any
should've
relief,
just waited till
clarity
free agency.
to be able to move forward? Anything emotionally you're feeling which you can give us?
Sound like
beyond?
you're still asking me. I know.
He's been in New Orleans the last, like, what,
Yeah.
5, 6
Let's
years?
table this. I
The
promise.
bottom of
I'll-
the United States,
I'll
all the
give
way
you
to
an
the
answer.
top of Canada. But he is not staying out there. He is
As
not
for the
staying
Warriors,
in New
they're adding
Orleans.
one of the most
I mean, he's not
prolific
staying on
postseason
Toronto.
scorers in the
I'll tell you
league.
that right now.
He averages
But did
more
they
points,
get- who did
rebounds,
they
assists,
trade R.J.
steals,
Barrett?
and blocks in the playoffs as
gotta
opposed
see,
to the
did they
regular
trade R.J.
season.
Barrett?
Only 9 players in the
Dang, no, they
history of the
traded him.
NBA have done that, one of whom is now a teammate in Draymond Green. In addition to those numbers, there's toughness, an innate ability to move without the ball, and his tenure with the Heat. Butler shot 78% on layups and dunks off cuts, 8th best.
That's what I
over
was
that
saying.
span. As for the
I
Warriors,
like
they've
Brandon
attempted
Ingram a
the
lot.
most layups and dunks
I for
off
sure
cuts
would've wanted to see him
in
go
the
to the
NBA
Spurs,
this
but
season. So that seems to
he's
marry
way
up
more
nicely.
ball
And after
dominant
beginning the
than
season
Tobias
12-3, the Warriors
He
have
can
been
give you
reeling
25,
down to 10th
he
in the
can
Western
25
Conference,
and
entering
5,
Wednesday.
But so can Harris.
Well
without-
regarded by
with less
sportsbooks,
touches,
Golden
you know what I'm
State's
saying?
odds to win
And
the
so
West
can Aaron
shrunk
Gordon
from 30-1 down
with
to
less
20
touches.
to 1. The man wasn't kidding. Shams Charania alluded to some news, and hey, you're an absolute gem of a man to at least get it before we're driving
I wonder.
home. The news is what? Who made a move?
Zion,
Scott, we have
don't come to the
another
Spurs, my boy.
big Lakers
Don't,
trade.
please,
They've
don't come to the
traded
Spurs,
Dalton
my boy.
Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2031 first-round pick, and a 2030 pick swap, all to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams. And if you don't watch the Charlotte Hornets, Mark Williams is an athletic 7'2" rising big man. He really fits the profile of the type of player that we've seen Luka Doncic thrive with, the Derek Liveys of the world.
we should
And I think
we should
they are
sign
really
Bol
excited
Bol.
in Los Angeles about that
Or like
fit.
Miles
a true
Bridges.
center now. We've been talking about it. Anthony Davis, actually, before he got
Oh, you
traded,
signed both of
talked
that,
about
yeah.
how the Lakers probably needed a 5 addition. The Lakers have been searching for one since last summer, Scott, and they finally found one. This is a guy that could pair with Luka Doncic really for the next 8 to 10 years. They paid a steep price, though, Scott, but they got a guy that could be a cornerstone piece for a while.
Are you done?
Wait, they
or is
traded.
there
Oh,
more?
they traded Mark. Oh,
You
yeah,
never
So the
know,
Lakers got another big
but
man.
I had
Wow.
a little inkling on this one, but
Okay.
shout out also, Scott, to Charlotte. They are rebuilding,
Wow.
picked up a lot of assets as well. You think about this trade, Dalton Knecht can shoot. I know a lot of people in LA are shocked that Dalton Knecht was traded as a rookie, but you have to give to get.
No, that's true. That was
It's
my
so
reaction.
crazy,
I was
though,
like, I
'cause
thought they
after the
liked the
Luka
guy. But I
Doncic
mean,
trade,
look, things have
bruh,
changed
hey,
quite significantly since
even
you
if
broke
you
that
a
news the other
franchise
night
player, boy, you was
about
not
Luka.
safe.
Shams, thank you very
Your
much.
ass can still
Well
get
done.
traded for LeBron can get traded.
All right, we appreciate Sean.
They could trade LeBron right now.
Then we'll bring him back on. Joined now by Brian Windhorst. And Brian, there are details that aren't necessarily meant for air. And because you mentioned something to me last week that was off air rather than on, I won't have the same cultural cachet as what's going on in Utah. But you mentioned a team to keep an eye on as it related to Jimmy Butler was Golden State.
I like
going to Golden
Utah.
State.
They got a bunch
what
of
had
young,
to
they got a
happen
bunch,
for this to
they got
be the
a
end
bunch of young
result?
guards. Goddamn.
So, this is one of those things where
Hey,
different
Colin
people will
Sexton,
have
you wanna
different
come to the
versions
Spurs
of
and
events,
back
but
up
there
De'Aaron
was a
Fox?
scenario that was
Be a
somewhat
six man or something.
close.
We love to have you, my
was
boy.
a 3-team trade yesterday that would have had Kevin Durant going to the Warriors, Jimmy Butler going to the Suns, and Andrew Wiggins in various pieces, probably similar to what the Heat got
Kevin
tonight
Durant going back to the
Miami.
Warriors?
There was this triangle that these 3 teams were working on. And, that deal might have happened if Kevin Durant had not made it known he didn't want to go to Golden State. And once that happened, that deal fell apart. The Warriors backed
You're like, man,
off.
the Warriors
They
are
could have
washed,
gone
and
through
so
with
am
it,
I.
Scott.
I'm not
there was
going
no
back
trade
there.
clause. They could have done the deal and tried to work it out later, but they didn't.
Hey, KD,
and when
come
that
to the
happened,
Spurs.
you basically had the Miami
But
Heat.
everybody
with a
come
choice
to the
make.
Spurs.
Would they
You got
do a
Ruth by y'all
deal
there.
with the Warriors for Jimmy Butler because they were still interested, or would they do a deal
Everybody just come to
the
San
Suns
Antonio,
for
goddamn.
Kevin Durant? And I think that the Durant thing was something that was on the board, but I don't think it ever progressed. I don't know if we'll ever know why not or what the reasons were there. But Durant is going to stay in Phoenix, at least what I think for right now. And the key was earlier on
Kevin
Wednesday,
Durant is a
the
bunny
Warriors
hopper,
started doing
son.
contract negotiations with Jimmy Butler.
His ass here
And once
today
that
and gone
happened, it was
tomorrow.
pretty clear which way this was going to go. They reached a new 2-year deal. So Jimmy Butler is the winner here tonight, Scott. After demanding a trade, even though he had wanted to go to Phoenix, he ends up in Golden State with Steph Curry, and he gets a new 2-year contract with more than $100 million guaranteed.
We said last week he's going to
That'll
get what he
probably
wants.
be Jimmy Butler's last major contract.
Me,
He's going to be at least like 30-something by the time that contract is over with.
What's your sense of why Durant has Golden State as I'm not interested?
Because they washed. No more Klay Thompson.
Frankly, having private conversations with Kevin is really, you shouldn't get into Kevin's head and try to assume what he's thinking.
Understood.
All I can tell that's something for him to say. I would just say the biggest person
Dude, the
involved in
Warriors
this whole
is
deal
old
wasn't
now.
Kevin
That's why
Durant.
he don't
It was
wanna go
really
there.
Bradley Beal, because for a month the Suns tried everything they could to figure out how to get Jimmy Butler alongside Kevin Durant in Phoenix, and Bradley Beal used his no trade clause to the hilt and made it clear he didn't want to move. And so that is what got.
Oh, y'all
the
could have
Suns
gave
to this
up Bradley
point, because
Beal.
You
I
look
forgot
at where
about
they're at.
Bradley
They're
Beal.
basically 500.
Y'all don't think they would have
can't
traded
trade Bradley Beal
for
and
Jimmy
Durant
Butler?
has a contract extension situation this summer. He's only got 1 year left. They sort of painted themselves into a corner. The only way to sort of improve the team was to look at Durant options, which they did. But ultimately, they did nothing.
You're an information guy, but you're a hoop head too. I just am curious, Brian, what do you think this makes Golden State?
I don't know. There's where I'll say I don't know. It's a great add to them.
I ain't lying,
because Jimmy
fool.
Butler
I'd
is one of the rare
trade
players who can,
Kevin
in a
Durant for,
playoff
like,
series or a playoff game, can
Brandon
take a team
Ingram and some picks.
maybe isn't the better team. and carry
Zion
them over
Williamson
the
and
top.
some
He's done that
picks.
multiple
I'd trade
times.
Kevin
Yeah.
Durant for.
You add a player like that.
Kevin Durant ain't gonna
that's
be averaging
really a
27
value
points in the
add.
next
And if
3
you're
years.
Steph Curry, I think you're excited about bringing Jimmy in. And I also think Jimmy
I don't
has
think
gas
KD
left in the tank.
KD
He has
ain't
the
even the
ability
type
to be
of
a
player
difference
to
maker
play
in the playoffs.
like
I
play
don't
past
know
40
if
like
the Warriors
LeBron is.
have enough time and a team to get out of the play-in and really put him in a position where he and Steph can go to work, though.
Tonight, everything that I asked Brian is on the air, and that's your benefit at home. Brian, I appreciate you, man. Thank
That's
you.
what you think.
Ah, there we go.
What you mean by that? I had no idea the Pelicans traded Brandon Ingram to the Raptors on an expiring contract, meaning he'll be a free agent at the end of this season, son. Do y'all really think that boy from the South, the South, I want to say the gutter, New Orleans, not the gutter, goddamn. But for the bottom of the map, the bottom of the United States, y'all sending him, bro, all the way to the tippity top of Canada. Brad probably had to get a passport, fool, on God. But do y'all really think he gonna stay in Toronto? No. Just like Kawhi Leonard didn't stay in Toronto. He came there. I mean, he did win a ring, but he dipped right after that. So I feel like that'll be what the fuck? I feel like that'll play out just how the Kawhi Leonard situation played out, fool. He gonna come hoop for y'all, then he gonna dip. I know me personally though, if I was in New Orleans, the South of the South, and I get shipped to the top of the North, I'm gonna feel like I'm in a completely different world. It's already one thing, fool, when you just say you come from playing from like the Kings or like the Knicks or whatever, then you get traded to like the Jazz. That'll feel like a completely different world all in itself, fool, but just imagine switching country. That's it for this video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and go mess with STAKT. Out now, everywhere. IOU, official music video. Doing pretty good. Stream doing great too. But y'all go multiply that bit for your boy. And I'm gonna see y'all next video, man. Big brr.
Look how the diamond blink off my chest. Fresh in my white tee. See the progress. I'm a stunner, stunner, stunner. I'm a stunner, stunner, stunner.